Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan, brothers and sisters, for coming down. I'm sure, as the brother said, you've sacrificed a lot out of your way to seek the deen here, and inshallah, with Allah's rahmah, may all of us get that. Now this, brothers, unfortunately sisters can't see, but for the brothers, this is a clock, I'm sure as you all know. This here is a pen, and there's a phone. Anyway, now to begin with, I'm sure a lot of the brothers here, I can see many different faces, mashallah, many of which I haven't seen before, but I heard a lot of you brothers are from this area and of different ages. So if my assumption is correct, then some of you brothers may be in exams at the moment, as I've met some brothers already doing their GCSEs and what have you. So I'm not really sure what stage you are, but some of you brothers may be exams, other brothers here may be working, other brothers may be here married with kids, etc, etc. With all of these things, I'm sure, I can remember a long time ago when I was in GCSEs, old memories from there, but we've all gone through. These are natural stages in life, let's say, yeah? And all of us, we go through these things for a reason. We set out objectives, we set out goals for ourselves. For example, GCSEs, as a simple example. You hope that you go through that, you take them on, you get the best grades possible, so inshallah you can do your A-levels and follow that on to uni, although maybe not nowadays because the prices they're putting on uni is crazy, and then lead that on to a career. But all of these objectives, all of these goals is because you're facing it towards an aim in life. You've got some brothers who want to be, I don't know about you brothers, for us if you're Bengali, then your mum dad says one or two things, and you're a doctor, a dentist, by the age of 25 you have to be married and 5 grandchildren, and that's just the beginning. So, they've kind of set our aim for us in a sense, yeah. So I don't know about you brothers, but everyone has these aims and objectives in life. And along these things, because in this country education you don't have a choice, it's compulsory till you've done your GCSEs, then college, uni is up to you. But along that we have our own personal objectives. I remember when I was like 12 or 13, I used to love playing football. I played for every team in any team. I was like 13 bro, and I was playing, I don't know how I got myself into this. I was playing for like under 16s. I was 13. I was playing for over 21s. So I was thinking, even I wouldn't fall for that trick. But random places everywhere. And I was always telling my mum, watch, I'm going to fall for watch, and I want to play for England World Cup. You've seen me on there. And I was like, yeah, don't worry, you'll be there, you'll get there. But we all set ourselves personal goals, personal objectives. You may find that some brothers out there, they're not really into the football stuff. They're more in the education. They're more bookworms. These guys, they love the education. He's thinking, I'm going to be that scientist. I'm going to be that doctor. I'm going to be that, the architect, what have you. Yeah? Other brothers maybe get inspired by things like, Eminem. A few years back, what shocked the world with him was, it was a bit like that film, I guess, White Men Can't Jump. It's a really old film, so I don't know if you guys probably know or not, but it's basically this guy came on, and it was the way he busted his lyrics out there, it got him recognized in the world. Dr. Dre saw him in a battle once and thought, this guy's good, man. He knows quite a few bits. So he took him up under his wing, educated. And a lot of people, they see that, or 50 Cent or Tupac, they see things like that, they've gone through that thing, they get inspired, think, I'm going to be the best rapper out there, I'm going to shot the lyrics, I'm going to go into battles, I'm going to go as, MC, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So you set your own personal goals as you go through these things like GCSEs or educations or what have you, isn't it? But at the same time, as we all know, that there's a massive possibility that we may not get it. The objectives that we set for ourselves, maybe you study your life all the way through. You're trying to be that doctor, you're going everywhere, and right at the last minute you don't get that grade that you need. And you can no longer achieve that task, you can't be that doctor. You work hard in your workplace. You're trying to get get to managerial position, and they say, you need to meet these targets and that target and this stats and that stats, and you meet all of them, but on the last minute you don't get it. Or maybe, I don't know, Olympics coming up, you're running the Olympics, and just happen to be walking out on the street, crossing the road one day on a sunny day like this, and bam, you get hit by a car, and one of your legs goes flying off, so you can't do the 100 meters run, or one of your arms, or maybe you're born disabled or things like that. But also, having said that, let's face the fact. Some of the examples I gave in there, it's true. If you're all thinking it's not a common reality. I mean, alhamdulillah, all of us, we still have both our arms and legs. It's not everyday occurrence. You go out and you see someone get run over on the street, hit by a bus, or born disabled or what have you. It's not a common occurrence. You have seen people in life who have reached their objectives. There are people like Bill Gates, the billionaire. I think some new Mexican billionaire is topping him now. There's people like 50 Cent. There's people like Eminem. There's people essentially even from Oldens, from Maiden Park. What's his name? They used to actually go to the school I went to. N-Dubs. And what was his name? Yeah, that's the thing. So even they even tried it, and everyone in them days, back in them days in Hamster, everyone's listening, think you ain't gonna get nowhere, man. You and your lyrics. But now look, these guys have made it. They set themselves a task, and they made it. And let's face the facts. With any one of you doing exams, you know that if you revise, you may not necessarily get the best grade, but you definitely pass. If you revise, you should pass. So it's not a common reality. Broken egg, broken arm, what have you, is kind of exaggerated. But because these things are not common realities, some of the examples I gave, people automatically probably thought, I'm not going to get broken arm. Or me, no, I'm not gonna do what that foolish guy did. I'll set out my goals. I know I'm learning from other people's mistakes. Or as a managerial position, no, I know my area manager, he ain't like that. He'll let me be manager one day. I just gotta do this and I gotta do that. They sort of feel like they're saved, that they don't fall into that trap. That these things, they don't apply to them. But the thing is, if you look at closely, there's one thing in reality that is the most commonly known fact. It's the most common reality, most definite thing out there, more definite than everything and anything. And that's death. And this brings death, you see, it applies not just to us as human beings. Try open up your mind to a little bit further than that, because if you look at examine anything in life, from us down to a tree, down to a plant, down to a piece of paper, down to metal rotting away, death doesn't necessarily have to be that it was physically alive as we are and it's died, but something exists and it's gone. It applies to everything and anything. But then, even though death is the most commonly known thing, if you look at Japan, I heard last week. A few weeks ago there were earthquakes there. It was 7.5 on the Richter scale. Automatically there was another earthquake a few days ago, and that killed I don't know how many thousands of people. We've been hearing that. If you look at things like in Libya or in Egypt or in Bahrain, all of these areas, everywhere and anywhere you look at, maybe even in your own family there may have been a death recently, but if you look at everywhere, you see death. But the funny thing is, even though we see it so much, we know it so much, the irony to this thing is that it's probably the least remembered thing on the planet. We go through our life so much, preparing for 5, 10, 15, 25 years down the line. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to get this degree, I'm going to be this guy, I'm going to be that guy, etc. That we don't even spend a second to think, that's 25 years down the line. I'm still 15 at the moment. Will I make it to 25? Will I make it to 30? Will I make it to 40? Who knows? We don't give our time that gap to see that. Such as, let's give examples of, I don't know if you know this actor, his name was Heath Ledger. He played the Joker in the Batman film, Batman Begins. This guy does his film, in a film like that, you're going to get paid bucks. But at the end of all of it, he was found OD'd, taking up antidepressant tablets in his hotel room. The guy, commonly known actor around the world, played Joker and he pulled off a brilliant role playing it, because everyone's thinking, can he match Jack Nicholson? Can he mark that? He pulled it off, but then what happened? Death comes to his door. Now, did he know, let's say 5, 10 years before that, or when he started going to acting school, that, this many years down the line, I'm going to be a sick actor, and when I'm 60 or 70, I'll retire? Did he know at that age, death is going to be waiting for you? Or, even Even guys like Tupac from the past. The guy was a well-known rapper, him, was it Dr. Dre, all of these guys were around back in them days, yeah? But once the man's dead, no one remembers him, everyone's forgot him. Even like Michael Jackson, that was just not too long ago, I think probably almost a year, maybe, I'm not sure, yeah? But the point is, this guy was known around the world, Michael Jackson. One of the most famous things I'm sure all you guys know around here is moonwalk, yeah? But the point is, literally a few months after he died, those big boy fans were there and then everyone forgot him. No one remembers who you are anymore. Once you're dead, you're dead. Even with family members, it's normal, it's a common thing that happens to everyone and anyone in life. Even with your own family members, you may have realised that, you know what, you've heard of this family member dying a few years back, or that family member dying a few years back, maybe a grand, maybe an aunt, maybe whoever, but eventually you forget, you get back to your normal routine in life again. You forget these things. It's a natural thing, it happens. But the funny thing is, death is the most common thing. Shouldn't you be thinking, you know what, I should take that as a reminder for me. One day I will die. Now, all of these things I've been saying regarding death, regarding our oaths, regarding our aims, etc. If to ask the question, why are we even talking about death? Now, we're not talking about death as, let's say, maybe a scientist would do, or I don't know, maybe in archaeology they'll look at in terms of what brought death to the dinosaurs or this or that. We're not looking at that. We're Muslims and they're alhamdulillah. When we talk about death, we're talking about it because of one reason. Because everything in life, as we all know, has consequences. You turn up late to work, what's the consequences? Most likely you get discipline. Or you could possibly get fired, or you turn up late to school, or you don't turn up for your exam on time, then may not let you take the exam. Everything in life has a consequence. But the biggest consequence to life, literally the biggest one, no matter which way you want to look at it, black, pink, orange or blue, doesn't matter, the biggest consequence to life is death. And this, brothers, is no joke. Don't think of this some sort of like, you know, when you hear death, some sort of action movie type thing, thinking, yeah, that's going to be sick, it's going to be sick. Death, the consequence to that for us as Muslims isn't just the fact that we die. So we don't look at it as the way the non-believers do when they think they just died, they're in the grave, everything's ended, fine. Because we know it goes much far beyond that. We know that we get questioned in the grave, and we know that we get judged by Allah, our Creator, in the Akirah. This is the consequence of death for us, for every single one of us here. Now, as Muslims, we know that this means how we live our life, from the day we're born to the day we die, affects how we die, affects how we're raised in the Akirah, affects our outcome also in the Akirah. Now, to go back to this, at first I'm assuming some of you brothers may have been confused that this guy has gone mad, bro. He lost it. He's thought about death maybe a bit too much here. He's bringing down the clock. What's going on? And firstly, you know, I'm not looking to sell him anything here, but the point being, it may have seemed a bit odd. The guy just randomly picks up a clock out of all the things, puts it down, a pen or even a phone, puts it down, then just suddenly goes into a talk. You're probably thinking, what's the relevance to that? Why are you picking up a clock? What's the point? Now, there is a point to it, by the way. I haven't gone completely mad here. This is just a simple thing. Simple device, everyday norm, everyone's got it. You don't necessarily have to clock this big. People may have watches or even on your phones nowadays, right? Very simple device, but the mere fact that I didn't explain why I picked it up in the beginning, some of you may have been thinking, it's a bit odd. Start thinking about it. What's that about? What's the point of that? What's he trying to say? Now this is simple, this is something simple. It's just a clock, it's just a pen, it's just a phone. You see, in fact, we're so used to these things that we see them at home every day, they mean nothing. But now when I show it to you in this manner in the talk, that's when you get a bit baffled. What are you showing the clock for? But when you look at yourself, all of us, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us, tell me, bros, what is more complex? This clock here, which human beings manufactured, the phone or the pen, or us? Yet you get baffled and you start thinking, what's the relevance of the phone? Or what's the relevance of the clock? What's the relevance of the pen? Because it's unusual, it's out of place. You wouldn't normally see it and talk like this. He just randomly picks it up and puts it back down again, then he goes on and talks about something else. But then have you ever thought that about yourselves? Have I thought that about me? That you know what? Why am I here? What's the point of me? Why am I alive? It's just when the clock's there, that's when it's odd, isn't it? It's a shame, but when it comes to a situation, when you see death right in front of you, or when you hear of a death of a family member that you may have been close to, or mate you've been close to, that's when it hits you. That's when it comes to you face on you, and you think, yeah, what if I die, man? What if this? What if that? But give it a few days, you're back with your boys, you're chilling out there, you've lost that momentum, done, it's all gone again, until another death comes, and another death comes. Now, the point of this was that everybody knows the objective of a clock is to do what? To tell you the time, right? That's what it does. Now imagine this clock. It's a fancy machine, it can do everything but tell you the time. It no longer fulfills its purpose, does it? It's no longer a clock. No matter what it does for you, even if it gets up and brushes your teeth for you in the morning, the fact is it's not doing its job. It's going to be useless. Imagine every store you go to, any clock you buy, always turns out to be like that. It doesn't tell you the time. You stop buying it because it's no longer serving its purpose. It is now useless to you, irrespective of what else it can do. Because its job, bro, its purpose, its objective, its goal, its aim is to tell you the time. Same thing with the pen. If the pen doesn't work, and you try every pen on the planet, if it doesn't work, then it's useless. It's no longer a pen. You can call it whatever you want, but it's no longer a pen. Or even with the phone. Nowadays, I'm sure most brothers, iPhone 3, 4, 15, I don't know, yeah? But with the apps and this and that, imagine the iPhone gives you any app you want for free. Every single app you want in the world. But the one thing you can't do is call or text from it. Then really the most fundamental thing is meant to do, a phone, its purpose is to allow you to call and nowadays receive and send text. Imagine in life, every single phone you get like that. Every single phone you get is like that. It can do everything but allow you to make a call. Everything but allow you to make a text or receive a text. It's no longer fulfilling its purpose. Which means what? It's useless to you. You're going to throw it away. It doesn't matter how many apps you can get. Now with time, we have to remember that death, we don't see it the way the non-believers do. We already know that Allah has written for us when we're going to die. That's one of the things that's written straight away, along with your rizq and so on. When you're born, when you're going to die, it's already written. So we don't look at it the way the unbelievers do, in the sense that, yeah, when I'm 80, when I'm 90, when I'm this, when I'm that. And we know that death is close at hand with everybody and anybody. As you brothers already may know, but death is a thing related to this, that the angel of death, the Malik al-Maut, it visits us 72 times a day. Now if you do the maths, you break that up, that's 3 times an hour. If you do the maths again, you break that up, that's once every 20 minutes. Now brothers, how long will we be waiting out there just to get into this hole? Potentially speaking, if Allah willed, every one of us here could be dead. The angel of death already came and visited us. Probably twice, if not maybe 3 times by now. This is the angel of death. Now, the thing is, for a non-believer out there who live their life with the mentality, I'm going to live life how I want, I'm going to do what I want. Some guys, they're just chasing the desire. Some guys out there, they're just chasing the money. Some guys, they just want to be the top guy, they want to be the PhD. Some guys want to bust the lyrics. Some guys want to do this, they want to do that. Their mentality that they're living in, they don't realize, as we do, or as we should do, how it affects their death. And how the angel of death will actually come to this non-believer. Now I've got actually a hadith here of how a non-believer's soul is taken by the angel of death. And this hadith is Tamim al-Dari. He narrates that the angel of death, it goes to a dying man in the most awful of forms that he's ever seen. Most awful forms that he's ever seen. And the angel of death, it has 12 eyes. And it brings with him a forked iron rod made of fire. And with the angel of death, there are 500 other angels that come with him. 500. And all with black faces. Now they bring with them copper. They bring with them embers of fire from Jahannam, from hell. And they bring whips made out of fire. Now in a hadith reported by Ibn Abbas, it said that the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, asked the angel of death. He actually got to see the angel of death once, and he asked the angel of death, show me what form you take. Show me how you look like. Physically, what form do you take when you assume, or that you take or assume, when you're taking out a good soul and a bad soul, basically, a believer and non-believer, at the time of that person's death. So he first asked the angel of death, show me the form that you take when taking out a good soul. So the angel of death said to the Prophet Ibrahim Islam, turn around, turn your face away, so he could change his form. And once he changed his form, the Prophet Ibrahim Islam turned around again, and he saw the angel of death, the form that he was in, the way he described it, he saw a very, very handsome man. Very handsome man, beautiful of face, and his face had nur in it. And he had white clothes with a beautiful smell coming from him. And the Prophet Ibrahim Islam said to the angel of death that if a believer in this dunya, if a believer was deprived of every blessing, every ni'mah, every rahmah, every opportunity, nowadays some of us can maybe going through some difficulties, thinking, I worked so hard for this, I didn't get it, or I worked so hard for that, I didn't get it, or I've been saving up and still a recession had to start, all of these things. If this person was in that situation and they basically got the worst of the worst in his dunya, he said to the angel of death, just seeing you in this form, the way you look now, that's compensation enough. That's payment done for that. This is just the angel of death. This is not as we know how Allah describes Jannah for us or whatever. This is just the angel of death, just seeing you in that form. Now think, brother, subhanAllah, what type of form does this angel take for someone to be in a position like that to be repaid? Then the Prophet Ibrahim a.s. said to the angel of death, show me the form that you take when you're taking out a non-believer's soul. Show me. The angel of death said, and remember, there's one key thing I want to remind you guys here. This is a prophet end of the day. And as we all know, the prophets, they are basically, Allah has given them the rahmah. They're born sinless, they die sinless. They're going to go into Jannah straight. They sort of know the story before us in a sense, yeah? Because they're part of the story. But he said to the prophet that, you can't bear me in this form. Even the prophet wouldn't be able to bear to see how he looks when he's taking out the soul of a non-believer. But the Prophet Ibrahim said, persistence, like, no, show me. Like a kid saying, no, I want it, basically. He's saying, show me, yeah? So the angel of death, once again, told the Prophet to turn around. Then the angel of death changed his form. So when the Prophet turned his face again, he sees a man, black of face. And his feet, the angel's feet, you see, is in the dunya, it's on the earth, and his heads are all the way up in the heavens. This is how big he is, how huge he is. And with the most awful of smells coming from it. Fire coming out of his nose and mouth. And his body had hair all over it, but these individual pieces were hair of like men, like human beings, like men. And each man had fire coming out of his eyes, of his ears, nose and mouth, not his eyes, Anyways, when the Prophet Ibrahim a.s. saw this, he couldn't bear seeing the angel in that form. And this is a prophet, I'll have to stress again, this is a prophet at the end of the day. And he fainted. And when he gained his consciousness, the angel turned back to his usual form. And he said to the angel of death that, you know what, if there was a person in this life, a non-believer basically, who didn't suffer any kind of torment in dunya, no form of punishment. This guy got as he wanted, did what he wanted, he just went around dunya living life how he wanted, and he just got away with everything, scot-free. That seeing you in this form is punishment enough. Just seeing him in that form is punishment enough. That's done for him. So anyway, going back to the hadith, the angel of death, it comes to a bad soul in this form, the one I explained a bit earlier, in the form with the 500 angels, and comes with his forked iron rod. And it doesn't go and greet this non-believer as it does to a believer, saying Assalamu alaikum ya wali of Allah. No, it doesn't say that. The angel of death goes to this non-believing soul and strikes him with his iron fork. It strikes him. And it gives this person such a beating that it pierces through his body. And the forks enter every vein and every joint in the body. Then the angel of death begins to twist and turn whilst it's inside the body. Now brothers, try and imagine this. I know we can't really imagine what that rod looks like because we've never seen it before. But try and imagine this barbed wire inside your body going through every muscle, every vein, every bone, every ligament, every joint, going through from head to toe in there, all attached to a machine. And you're stuck to a bed. And it twists and turns, your veins ripping. It's going into your joints, breaking your bones as it's going along, ripping apart, shred to shred, your muscles as it's going through. But this is just a machine. We're talking about the angel of death here. His very job, his job role is that he doesn't get paid for nothing else. He only gets paid to take your souls. And he has no compassion, no love. He doesn't care if you're a rich man, poor man, you had a hard life, short life, whatever life, he doesn't care. None of that bothers him. He just looks at when Allah commands it, that's when I take it. In fact, there's even an ayah in the Quran, and this is Surah As-Sajdah, verse 11, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, say, the angel of death, who is given charge of you, shall cause you to die, and then to your Lord you shall be brought back. So Allah already said to us, you know, this guy, his only job role is that. He's not going to be in a position like that where we may have to go sign in job center or anything like that. No, this guy's getting paid all the way through. Because he only has one job and he's the only one that can do it. Now, when the angel of death begins to take out the soul of a non-believer, it first of all starts from their toes and their feet. And imagine with his forked rod in there, twisting your veins as it's pulling your soul out, shredding it out basically, yeah? It starts pulling from his toes, but it stops at his ankles. And when it stops his ankles, by his feet, you know, as the body normally does, I'm not sure if you have any bruises or anything, major bruises before, but the body sometimes swells up, isn't it? You may have seen a lot of boxing matches when the eyes are puffed up, all that, because it's been hit so many times. When that happens, he cries out in pain, because he's already in pain as it is. His soul's getting taken out, it stopped at his ankle, and he's crying out in pain. And when he cries out in pain, the 500 angels that are with him, with the angel of death, with the whips they brought from Jahannam, they start whipping him, they start beating him. And then the angel of death continues. And he takes it from his feet, from his ankles, going all the way up to his knees, and he stops again. And once again the body swells up a bit, and the guy's crying out in pain. So the 500 angels that are around him, they beat him again with the whips, Jahannam. Then the guy goes from his knees to his waist. Once again it swells up, he cries out in pain, and the other angels that are with him, they beat him. Then it goes from his waist to his chest. And basically the angel of death goes from joint to joint, ligament to ligament, muscle to muscle, vein to vein, everywhere, all going all the way up the body, so stopping at each part, ensuring that this non-believing soul feels pain, feels agony, along with the other angels beating him. Making sure that that's what happens to this guy. Then the angels, the 500 angels, once the soul has been basically taken out, the 500 angels that have come, remember they brought the embers of fire and the copper. What they do is they put those embers of fire on the copper, which is placed under his neck. So imagine that burning away. The guy's already been through so much pain, imagine that burning away. And the angel of death will say, "O cursed soul, come out to the fire of hell. Come out to a place where there is scorching winds." Scorching. Have you ever had them wintry days when it is so cold it stings? When the wind is blowing through you, it actually stings out there. You know when you're not wearing gloves or something, you've been out and about walking around for so long, it actually stings. Scalding water. And a shadow of black smoke, which is neither cool nor refreshing. Now this is how a bad soul, a non-believer, is taken. And for him, none of this probably may even matter, because he looks at life as, I'm just living, well, you only get to live once. Live life to the max. Live it how you want, you get me? You ain't coming back here. But if anything, he's fooling himself. Is falling into that mirage that Allah tells us about, that the dunya is just amusement and play. Don't get lost in it. Don't start playing around with things that at the end of the day won't play around with you. They don't care about you. Now moving on to how a believer's soul is taken. Yeah? Now this one is in the authority of Shaykh Ahmed Ali, and he goes on to say that the angel of death goes to his dying believer once again with the 500 angels whose faces are so white and so beautiful and bright that their faces look like the sun. And they bring with them the sheets of Jannah, and they bring with them the sweet smell of Jannah. Each angel brings with them a bouquet of sweet smelling flowers from Jannah, and each bouquet contains 20 different colors, and each color gives us its own scent, its own smell. And they bring with them white silky handkerchief which gives off the fragrance of musk from Jannah. And these angels come and sit in front of him. At first, they sit as far as the eye can see. Because you got to think about it. The guy's never seen an angel before. Even if the angel's coming to a believing soul, and this guy's going to go to Jannah, he's never seen an angel before. So he's going to be kind of like a bit ambitious. What is this thing here? What is it? What's going on here? So they sit first as far as the eye can see, so that the dying believer doesn't become afraid. The angels of death show him, with the 500 angels, they show him the beauty, that their beauty of from a distance, and this dying believer sees their beauty. It's kind of sort of figuring them out, yeah? And he's never seen this before. And it's as if he's like seeing planets, moons, sun, stars, all shine brightly, all so beautifully and everything, all at once towards him. And he's kind of trying to figure it out still in his head. Staring at them, puzzled and confused, saying, who are these suns, these moons, these stars that I'm looking at? Who are these? What are these? And the angels slowly, they come closer together, closer and closer and closer. Try and imagine yourself in that position. You're trying to figure it out, thinking, it looks amazing, but at the same time, I'm not really sure what it is. Why is it? Yeah? And it's coming closer towards you slowly, yeah? And it comes closer and closer, so that he gets used to the nur, the light that's shining off them, given off by these angels. And then they finally all appear before him. And that's when he realized, these have to be the angels of Allah. This has to be the angel, along with the other angels, this has to be the angel of Allah. Then the angel of death comes and sits next to this person's head and says, Assalamu alaikum ya wali of Allah. Now, he says, Assalamu alaikum ya wali, ya friend of Allah. I know a lot of brothers, I've had a lot of friends. Well, trust me, man, that's one friend I'd put on Facebook straight away. If I ever find out Allah says that's me, as one guy I know I'd put on the top ranking straight away. So anyhow, he says to him that Allah is sending you His salam. Imagine what sort of privilege that must be, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you His salam. He's given you, His slave, His salam. So the angel of death sits next to his head, and the other angels, they surround him, and all the angels place their hands on one of his limbs, and the silky handkerchief they brought with them from Jannah, which gives off the smell of musk, they put it under his chest. And then a door towards heaven, towards Jannah, is open. And the angels, they keep him amused. Because at this time, all this funky stuff's happening. He's trying to figure out, what's going on, this here, that here. So they keep him amused by bringing in different things, like sort of different toys, if you will, from Jannah, to keep him distracted. And you sort of bring a smile in the face. So as a mother would do, let's say with a crying baby, she'd bring a milk bottle and the rattle, this and that. Keep him entertained so he gets distracted from that. So sometimes they bring from Jannah, sometimes they bring before him the fruits of Jannah. Now the fruits of Jannah, remember, things of Jannah we've never seen before. All we can try to do is imagine. Or we can imagine only, the best things we can imagine is the fruits that we know of here. And they bring the fruits of Jannah. Sometimes they bring before him the dresses of Jannah. Sometimes they bring before him the rivers, the streams of Jannah. Sometimes they bring before him the places of the palaces of Jannah. They show him different bits and bobs from Jannah, keeping him entertained. Each one is like, oh, what's that? Wait a minute, what's that? What's that? He's kind of, he's entertained. He doesn't know what's going on. It's excitement, isn't it? And when this dying believer basically sees all these things, the rivers of Jannah, the fruits, etc., his body, his heart starts beating, kind of like excitement. He's thinking, right, this is amazing. And the angel of death says, "Oh good soul, come out to a place where there are these beautiful streams, the various plantations, different types of fruit, gushing water, etc. Oh good soul, come out." And the angel of death is polite with this believer, because he knows at the end of the day, this is a believer of Allah. So he's got to be polite, he's got to be gentle with him. So his soul comes out in a more sort of, let's say, easy manner, not the way the non-believer did. And just like it's been actually described, you know how water falls from a cup to another cup, that's that simple basically. Anyhow, the angel says, "Assalamu alaikum, enter Jannah because of the good deeds that you did." Now just as a side point, this is a very crucial point here, yeah? That good deeds, with our aims, with our objectives, with our goals in life, really we should be looking to achieve that for the Akirah. Because it's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ who's sitting with some of his Sahabas, and I'm going to basically cut it down for you guys because it's kind of a long hadith. But anyways, he's sitting with his Sahabas and he goes, "You know, I'm going to narrate a story to you, and it has 3 riddles in it." So the Sahaba was kind of baffled. Was it okay? Fair enough. What's this riddles about? So the Prophet ﷺ said, there was once this man, and he realized that he's going to die soon, and I mean soon. So he starts getting worried, and he thinks of his three best friends, most trustworthy friends he knows of. He thinks, you know what, maybe these guys can help me out. So what he does, he goes to his first friend, knocks on his door, and he goes in, and you know, maybe like some of us may have done in the past, where we go to our boys like, yeah, don't worry man, I'm there for you, bro. I mean, we've been, since boys, we've been in the hood, you know, we're together, what have you. So he goes to his first mate, and his mate's like, yeah, don't worry, chill, I'll help you out. And then he says, the thing is, I'm going to die. And that's when his mate's like, oh, wait a minute, yeah. Fair enough, you know what I mean, everything else is cool, you know, you need some, like, you need to play doubles on PS3 or something, I'm there for you. But when it comes to death, bro, there's nothing much I can do. Except, buy you a place in the graveyard, and some of the, you know, the white cloths they wrap the dead body in as they bury them, buy you that cloth. So the guy aggrieved a bit and a bit panicky, goes to his second mate. So he knocks on his door, tells him the same thing. His mate's like, yeah, don't worry man, I'm there, I'll help you out, I'll sort it out for you. What is it? So he tells him the same story, I'm going to die. And that's when the first guy says, no man, come on, death is, you know what I mean, why am I, Robocop or something, I can't do nothing about death. So he goes, look, I can't do anything besides except take your corpse to the graveyard and basically bury you and janazah, etc. So now this guy's proper upset and he goes to his third mate, and as he goes to his third mate he's thinking, no, you know what, not even point man. First 2 already even blocked me out, third one, no way. This guy's probably just gonna just shut the door in my face. So he goes to his third mate, tells him the same story, he's thinking I already know what he's gonna say. And the guy's like, yeah, I'll be back home. He goes, no, I'm gonna die soon. He goes, you know what? Don't worry, my dear friend. I shall accompany you to the grave. Yeah? Be there with you in the grave, even when the angels arrive for questioning. Then assist you over the bridge from Jahannam leading into Jannah. And then lead you into Jannah. So this man, after hearing that, died in great relief. Now to cut the long story short, the Prophet ﷺ said, look, in this story to the Sahabas, could you figure out who these friends were? So the Sahabas were like, they tried it but they couldn't. And that's when the Prophet ﷺ explained that the first friend he went to was basically money. That's why he said, look, I can do nothing but buy you a place in the graveyard, buy you some cloth, but that's it. When it comes to money, that's as far I can go. We can buy you things. The second one was family and friends. So yeah, they'll take your body to the graveyard, they'll bury you, they'll grieve for you, etc. But that's as far as they can go. And the third one, which is the most important one, was his deeds. The third one says, you know what? I help you out, man. I help you in the question in the grave. I help you cross that bridge over Jahannam. I help you all the way into Jannah. This was his deeds. This is how important our deeds are. This is where our goals and our aims should be towards. Anyhow, going back to how the believer's soul is extracted. Now once the believer's soul is taken out, the soul itself thanks the body, and the body thanks the soul. They thank each other, and the soul actually says to you, you know what, you're so quick to obey Allah in the dunya, and so slow to disobey Him. And because of that, unlike the non-believer, we've both, not just myself, but we've both survived the pangs of death. the trials that go through in death. And the dunya, it begins to cry. Normally when a believer dies, the dunya cries out, a believing person has died. And his good deeds that he does, they go up to the heavens, and the heavens begin to cry. When Allah asks them, why are you crying? The dunya actually says, Ya Allah, this person was alive. Everywhere and anywhere he went, the man would mention you. The man would talk about you, the man would worship you. This is why I cry. Now once the soul has actually been taken out, we have to go back to the dunya side of things now. The soul has to be buried, right? The soul has to be taken to the grave. This is where the preparation comes in. The angels that come, preparing for his funeral as well, just as our parents do. Before his relatives can wash his body, the angels go and quickly wash his body. Now before his relatives can wrap him in the white sheets, they quickly go wrap him in the white sheets, and they also leave the athar with him. Then the angel of death, they hold a reception all the way from his door to his graveyard. And this is how a dying believer's soul is taken. So brothers, just to end it, we should be questioning for ourselves that what should be firstly our aim, what should be our goal, our objective in life, and always remember that death can come at any moment, and to be more specific, every 20 minutes, and that what have we done, what are we doing to prepare for death, prepare for that outcome. So inshallah I would like to end it there.